Hi there, Kafey here, and welcome back to Kafey's Corner. We're all pretty excited with the fallout that was E3. I know I am. And I am joined once again with my friend GlobosHekili. How are you, Globos?
Not too bad.
I think we should dive right into it and start talking about Super Smash Bros. So, Kazuya, what do you think about his edition?
I thought it was kind of weird, but it kind of makes sense to branching out into another IP, bringing that in. And he's not a sword character, which what people have been asking for, something different. So it kind of works. I just thought it was a weird IP to bring into it.
Very true. It definitely seems like they're going the branching route for trying to expand into all the IPs, like as many as they possibly can. I, for one, am for that. Even though I'm not a huge Tekken fan myself, I can't say I have played a huge amount of Tekken games. But Kazuya actually gives me hope for another character in Smash, now that they're branching out to different IPs. You might have heard his name. Sora? Maybe?
Maybe. I'm not quite sure they'll bring him in, I don't know if Disney will want to play ball on that one.
It's always Disney, yeah. A lot of people are really pumped about the idea of a Sora, but an equal amount of people don't really like the idea of having another sword fighter character into the game.
Well, when they first brought out the new character, I thought we saw Ganon thinking, oh my god, are they going to add in another Zelda character? So,
oh yeah.
But again, there's so many sword-type characters that could have been brought in from Zelda. I don't know where they're going to go with the next one. Like, Master Chief is still a big one that's out there. And with only one character left from what they're saying, who knows who it could be.
Yeah, I was really pumped. I was hoping when I saw the Ganondorf at first, I was hoping maybe we'd get like one of the 4 new champions, like Yunobo, Riju, Teba, one of those, Prince Sidon. Like, that would have been fantastic. One of the ones that hopefully they're going to make new amiibos for Breath of the Wild too, but we'll see.
I mean, on the flip side, the last character could be the champion and basically have the other champions as echo characters.
That'd be a bit hard to pull off, actually, though, when you come to think of it, because Mipha moves so fast in all the games in, like, Age of Calamity, and Daruk moves slow, but he's got the strength, and he can, like, chuck boulders and stuff. It would be... I don't know. It's an interesting concept, though.
Pokemon Trainer.
Oh! Ah!
Charizard is slow, but does high damage. Squirtle's fast, low damage. Like, it's doable.
Oh, it's certainly doable. I would say that Sakurai promised he wouldn't do like doubles of characters like that anymore. But hey, what about Pyra and Mithra? We just got them.
If it's 8 characters, like 8 different echo characters, just to give you different skins and whatnot, it could be old champions and new champions too.
Ooh, yes, I like that idea. While we're on Breath of the Wild, oh, did you see what happened to Link's arm, people? Like, it got completely corrupted by the malice. It almost looks like in the next game, he has a mechanism of some sort attached to his arm that all of his magic powers spring from. I don't think the Sheikah Slate will actually be used by Link in the next installment.
I don't know. I saw the video. I don't remember a whole lot of that. But who knows? Maybe it ends up being, first couple hours of the game you're playing as Link being taken over, and then they need to summon a different hero from an alternate timeline. Basically like another Link to the Past / Link Between Worlds kind of style.
Ooh, that...
So, who knows?
Yeah. Actually, that kind of gets me thinking. Instead of a different Link, I think it would be cool if we actually got to play as Zelda. So for a bit of the game, you're playing as Link corrupted by the malice, and then something happens to him, and you have to play as Zelda and you have to save Link. I think that would be a complete turnaround.
It would be very different, yeah.
Yeah, and well, I think we should keep on with the Nintendo theme and go straight into Metroid. Metroid Dread and those sweet-looking amiibos. Oh, my friends. I need those, but what did you think, Globos?
Metroid Dread definitely looks different, a lot more fast-paced than I would have expected it to be.
Yeah.
And the amiibos look good.
Oh, yeah. I'm pretty pumped. A lot of people are talking about how it's the first new Metroid game in 18 years in the terms of 2D platformers. I mean, I guess, if you don't count Samus Returns on the 3DS.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why people seem to be forgetting about that, but it might be because people are just completely forgetting about... They're pushing Metroid aside with how bad Federation Force did. Like, do you even remember that game?
No, I never played that.
Honestly, as a Metroid fan, I feel bad for not purchasing that game because I think it rose into the game not doing as well. Like, there were people like me who were like, Federation Force just looks okay, and we didn't buy the game, and I think Metroid suffered because of it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't remember anything about that one.
Nobody does. But still. It's almost like Star Fox. That was another series that they came out with. Star Fox Guard, Star Fox Zero, and it was just like nobody bought those games, and they didn't turn out. Like, they're not going to make any sequels for that. Like, Star Fox is dead. F-Zero's dead. Luckily, Metroid is not dead, people. We're getting Dread.
At least. And they're still supposed to be working on another Metroid Prime, so...
Oh, yes.
Crossed.
Metroid Prime 4 for sure. That looks great. And I actually thought we were going to get a Metroid trilogy. I really thought we were going to get a trilogy.
I think it could still happen.
Like a Prime trilogy. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there any other Nintendo stuff that you were pretty excited for that you saw from E3?
I don't feel like I've been very excited on a whole lot of games lately. No?
That's totally fair.
Zelda's pretty much the only one that I'm really excited for, and I feel like the 35th anniversary has been pretty lackluster thus far. Like, getting a Zelda Game & Watch, probably should have announced like a Zelda All-Stars with 3 big titles like they did for the Mario All-Stars.
Yeah, we were talking about that last time. I really think that would have went over well. It doesn't even matter what games they choose to release. Like, I do like the idea of the little Game & Watch, what is it, Zelda, but that's it so far almost. Like, we're not getting much besides Skyward Sword.
Yeah, but at least from looking at the Breath of the Wild video, it looks like they're linking Skyward Sword a little bit more to Breath of the Wild, so I guess we're just going to have to wait and see what that title is for the new sequel.
Totally. Skyward Sword is going to be integral to the sequel of Breath of the Wild. And actually, while we're on the sequel to Breath of the Wild, as Nintendo keeps calling it, what did you think today about the rumors that Nintendo isn't releasing the game's name because of spoilers?
I think that it's probably safer for them not to give it to us, because I mean it could easily be a giveaway on where they're leading Zelda now.
Totally. Are you talking about the series of Zelda or Zelda as a character?
Well, the series.
Okay.
Especially with, Skyward Sword being re-released this year, it's probably going to tie in huge to the sequel.
Yeah, definitely. And if we do get some playable champions like you were talking about, or a playable Zelda like I was talking about, maybe that's in the name of the game somehow, or there's a hint to that, and they don't want to give that away.
Maybe. I'm not sure.
Yeah. The game's creator, he came outright, and he even said that, as for why we're holding back on the name, you'll just have to stay tuned, because obviously, Zelda names are kind of important. This is a quote, by the way. He said, "Those subtitles, they start to give little bits of hints about maybe what's going to happen." So, that's Nintendo outright confirming they can't tell us the name of the game.
So cryptic.
Cryptic indeed. Ooh. That sequel just... ugh. Evokes all kinds of emotions, let's put it that way. Any more to add, Hekili?
Not at the moment. Still want to see more videos before I make too many jumps to conclusions.
Yeah, I was pretty pumped going into this E3, and you were kind of telling me to hold back my expectations a little bit. I think you won that battle.
Yeah, just knowing how the last couple system releases went, there's usually a little bit of downtime. Like, the year after launch is usually a little bit quieter, and then the year after that, that's when we start to get some of the good stuff. So, for the sake of PlayStation and Xbox, I think we're going to see a lot more bigger things next year, and Nintendo's kind of keeping the status quo more than anything.
Yeah, I mean, we all know how Nintendo, they just do their own thing. They march to the beat of their own drum, and they don't care what the competition thinks.
They make their money.
Oh, yeah. They make their money. While we're talking about E3 not quite potentially living up to expectations, I think we should move on from Square Enix, or move on to Square Enix from Nintendo. What did you think of the reaction or of the presentation that Square Enix presented us? What did you think?
I didn't see enough of what I wanted to see.
Yeah.
I was expecting a little bit more of Final Fantasy XIV's Endwalker. I was expecting to see something for Final Fantasy 16. It was nice to get the reveal for the remake of Final Fantasy Origins.
Yes, Stranger of Paradise did look very great. I even played the demo, and I died a lot, but it was fantastic. I had a lot of fun. It's a hard game. But other than that, it was the presentation itself was a bit underwhelming. They spent 20 minutes on Guardians of the Galaxy. I like Guardians, but come on, 20 minutes?
Yeah, it was a little much. I have a feeling that Disney probably said, hey, showcase this a little bit more than some of your other stuff.
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
Yeah. But it looks like it'll be a fun single-player game at the very least, so just gotta wait and see on that one.
It does look like it'll be a fun game. I have no qualms about the game itself. I was watching the trailer and I kept checking my watch and the clock, and I'm like, okay, 7 minutes have passed. Okay, 13 minutes have passed. Okay, 18 minutes have passed, and they're still focusing on Star-Lord, and for a third time I got to see them throw Rocket across a chasm. They're just using the same gameplay, and I'm like, come on, people.
Well, at the very least, they talked about, or at least from what I've heard, there's no DLC coming for it. It's going to be a game that's put out, it's finished, maybe some patches to finish it up, but no paid DLC. So we'll see if they stick to that or not.
That's great. Yeah, we don't need any more paid DLC. And we don't need any unfinished games. Marvel's Avengers. But actually, speaking of Marvel's Avengers, Black Panther, the War for Wakanda, that actually looked pretty intriguing.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's more than just a 5-hour DLC.
Yeah.
From what I've been hearing, most of the Avenger DLC have been very straightforward, very quick, anywhere from like 2 to 5 hours. nothing that's really great, but nothing terrible either. So I'm hoping that this is a good tribute to the character and the actor that played him.
Yes, if I'm not mistaken, did they do a direct likeness of the actor?
I'm not sure.
It almost looked like it, but yeah, rest in peace. While we're on the topic of Square Enix, did you see any of the gameplay for Babylon's Fall?
Yeah, it looked kind of interesting. I like that it's coming from the guys that did Nier. Or not Nier. Yeah, Nier.
Yeah.
Nier. And it's basically a 4-player Nier game.
Yeah. Combat looks pretty engrossing. And like you said, I had a lot of fun with Nier.
With all my experience with MMOs and whatnot, like, it looks like it's a fairly well-balanced MMO, basically, but, 4-player instance kind of thing. It looks good.
Yeah, kind of in that style, for sure. And I can't talk about the presentation without mentioning Life is Strange. We're getting Max and Chloe back. Not in a sequel, though, unfortunately. It's just in the remastered. But I will take it. Some more platinums to add to my collection.
That technically a 2 or 3 pack. Was Before the Storm included in that, too?
Before the Storm was included in that, yeah. Okay. I'm not sure if there's a platinum with that now, though, because there wasn't a platinum with that originally when Before the Storm released. But at least they're bundling it together.
Yeah.
That's nice, yeah. And what did you think of the empathy powers showcased in Life is Strange 3?
I mean, it's different.
Or True Colors, I should say.
It's different. I don't know. I don't really feel anything one way or the other on that one. No pun intended.
I think you intended a pun on that one. That being said, I think it's an interesting concept. They're really trying to get you to come to terms with how other people are feeling, which is not something a lot of people are used to, actually. So I don't know. It's a cool concept. We'll see where it goes.
Yeah, I mean, especially with COVID and everything, people are so separated that it's a way to kind of be like, oh yeah, think about other people.
Yeah,
coming from a video game.
Oh, I'm ready for the feels to hit me again. Oh. Yeah, sorry, Max and Chloe, just Anyways. A lot of people, like we mentioned, were disappointed with the presentation, but you brought this up to me, and I made a quick video about it the other day. I really think they're saving some of their next big projects, as in the Final Fantasy 16s, the God of Wars, the Spider-Mans, for Sony's next state of play.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that seems to have been absent, whether it was from Sony or from other developers.
Indeed.
I feel like we're going to see a lot of big titles showcased from Square and other companies at the Sony State of Play. Yeah. Whenever that is.
Definitely, because people are forgetting that Sony didn't have a presence, so they couldn't showcase their God of Wars, their Spider-Mans, or whatever. That's why I think it just makes sense for the better Square Enix games, like Remake Part 2, all that jazz, to be in the next state of play, and then Sony can be like, hey, bam, there's 6 games that you want, and guess what? They're only on PS5. You just drop the PS5 symbol, and you walk out of the room. People, I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. Sony needs to make sure they have a good few games to show off. With Microsoft's event, they showed off 30 different games, mostly exclusives, with day one Game Pass on 27 of those 30. So, Sony needs to definitely step it up and make sure that they show off the games that are exclusive to them, or at least timed exclusive, like potentially Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2, and whatever else. I mean, they've said that they're definitely making another God of War. There's going to be another Spider-Man. We know Horizon is coming soon.
Yes.
They showed off that 19-minute video, 13-minute video, whatever it was.
It was lengthy.
It was a decent video for Horizon Zero Dawn. Forbidden West. And there's so much more that they probably have hiding. Like, we don't know what Naughty Dog's working on. There's so much that can be shown off.
We don't know what Naughty Dog's working on. Like, you're totally right with everything you just said. Your Naughty Dog just actually prompted me to be like, we were talking the last time. I was mentioning if there was going to be a new Naughty Dog property, and they were working on The Last of Us multiplayer, like The Last of Us 2, the factions multiplayer. That is no longer exists. That is no longer happening. There's no longer going to be a multiplayer for The Last of Us Part 2. And that really makes me think, what is Naughty Dog working on specifically?
I mean, whatever gameplay that they were planning for Last of Us 2, I have a feeling that will probably be incorporated into a different game. Like, the style, not necessarily the story. And I mean, we're probably going to see another Uncharted eventually. Not necessarily following Nathan Drake, but a whole new storyline, a whole new
his children,
IP
perhaps,
of Uncharted. I mean, not even necessarily Nathan Drake's family. It could end up being a whole other set of characters and events that could be taking place in the future, in the past, whatever. But a whole new style of Uncharted.
I could see that.
I mean, they said they want to do another Last of Us. Not necessarily that it's going to be anytime soon. We could see it on whatever next gen after the PS5. But they do want to do another Last of Us in some capacity. So we'll see where they go.
That's fair. I'm not gonna lie, I pumped a lot of time and effort into the very first Last of Us multiplayer, and I was pretty pumped for the second multiplayer, and now that it no longer is a thing, I'm sad. I'm really disappointed. But like, I think that would have helped save 2, because 2 was alright, but it wasn't as good as 1. But if you added the multiplayer, it maybe not. But it would have been good.
Who knows? I mean, there's still a lot that could be explored with Last of Us 2. Maybe they can, the multiplayer, to decide to do like another prequel style story like they did with the first Last of Us, or even just focusing on some of the side characters and where they were at certain points in the game. So who knows? We might still get something for Last of Us 2.
Yeah, that's possible. Or maybe the next game's not even Last of Us 3, like what, Last of Us 2 something, like subtitle Forbidden,
like Uncharted Lost Legacy.
Yeah. There you go. Lost and Naughty Dog, it has been known to do that a few times, so I could totally see that.
Yeah, it could definitely be a thing.
Yeah. So we talked a bit about Xbox and their Game Pass. We talked a little bit about Nintendo, a little bit about Square Enix. Is there anything else that was shown or not shown, but is there anything that left you like some strong feelings from this E3, one way or the other?
I mean, I was disappointed we didn't see anything for Final Fantasy 16. I had been hearing rumors about another BioShock.
Yeah.
And there's a few other games that I kind of expected to see, but there was no word on any of it. So, I don't know. Just mixed feelings all around.
Yeah. I mean, overall, it was a little underwhelming. I think after not having one last year on E3, I think a lot of people, myself included, really expected almost double the E3 this year. If that makes any sense.
I really didn't expect a huge amount this year, and it still somehow disappointed me a little bit. But there was enough information that, it'll tide us over at least till Christmas, when hopefully we get a few more announcements for early next year. So I guess we'll see. With the State of Play and Nintendo Directs and whatnot, like, we get mini E3s throughout the year now, so we don't need one big one to really tide us over for the year. We at least see something throughout the year now.
We're talking about state of plays a few times, so why don't we guess what month the next state of play will be in? Give it a shot.
I have a feeling it'd be like mid-July. Separate themselves just enough from E3 that there's time in between, but close enough that it doesn't feel like they got left in the wind.
Yeah, I think mid-July is a good bet. I'm personally going to vote for mid-August. I think they had one in August last year, but July sounds like a good bet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was there anything else that got you excited one way or the other than the underwhelming performance that I think most retailers or companies suffered from?
Release dates. We saw a lot of stuff, but I think Xbox gave us the most release dates overall. But even then, it feels like there's still a lot that's up in the air.
A lot of promises for the future.
Like, Warner Brothers didn't show off anything for their new Batman games or Suicide Squad game. We're still waiting to hear on what's happening with the new Lego Star Wars Skywalker saga. There's just a lot of things that just have been promised, and yet we're still not seeing anything.
Yeah, that's true. And even the promises are ways into the future. That being said, there's still, I think, plenty to get hyped about, especially since Nintendo has finally released some of their games and release dates, and they're keeping us informed. Dread, I think, is October 8th, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's early October.
So, and that'll lead into Pokemon, and eventually we'll be picking up the games from Square Enix and Xbox and all those other good, all the other retailers that we want. But I think I speak for everyone when I just wish that this E3 would have been as good as Nintendo's last E3. Yeah. But I digress. All right. Just before we wrap things up, because we talked about some things that disappointed us today with Square Enix and some other properties, I think we should finish it out with a property from Square Enix that really impressed us and resonated with us over the years. Like, I'm talking, it can be any IP you've ever played from Square Enix. What do you think is your favorite?
Over the years, Final Fantasy has been one of my favorite IPs overall, and specifically Final Fantasy VI. Like, 6 was one of the first ones I played, and biggest thing was halfway through, the bad guys won, and then you had to pick up the pieces and try and come back and save the world still. And it's been one of my favorite ones for years. That's probably the one that sticks out the most.
Definitely. 6 was one of my favorites. I don't know why, but every time I think of Final Fantasy VI, I think of that scene with Kefka in the desert. He's trying to get some sand off of his shoe, complaining that there's sand on his shoe in the middle of the desert. Just
yeah, it's always a good one. And I don't know, every time I play the game, I always seem to find a new treasure chest or just something new. And there's a lot of stuff in there. It's really good for a Super Nintendo game.
Yeah, certainly. I always forget that it was originally a Super Nintendo game. I think my favorite Square Enix property of all time would probably be Final Fantasy IV. Just the storyline with Cecil, the Dark Knight Paladin thing, Rydia and the Mist Dragon, that whole storyline. I don't want to give too much away if you haven't played it, but it's worth going back to at any point in time. And then Kingdom Hearts 2, I'd say, is probably my second favorite. That game is a finished product. Like, it's you can replay that forever.
And with Final Fantasy IV, like, they were able to do add-on content like years later.
Oh, the after years.
And even then, like, they did a really good job continuing that story, even though it was done.
I enjoyed the after years, actually. It's quite a good story.
But yeah, like, decades later, they did more to it, and it was a fantastic game.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's a good place to call it. So, if you enjoyed our post-E3 wrap-up, don't forget to hit like and subscribe, or leave a comment in the comment section below. And we will see you later on another episode of Kayfy's Corner. Once again, I want to thank you for joining us, Globos.
No problem. It's always fun.
Awesome. Well, I hope that you and our viewers have a great evening.
Thanks.